Welcome to the Empowerment Zone with Ramona Houston, where we zone in on Black and Brown relations and our journey to empowering our communities.
Thank you for joining the Empowerment Zone. I am your host, Ramona Houston. Leadership, leadership, leadership. Leadership is what the world needs now. And I am so happy to have with us someone who's going to tell us all about leadership development. We have Mr. Pierre Campbell with us today, and he's talking about diversity and inclusion and self-advocacy. Known for his authentic style and passion as a leadership coach, this Queens, New York native is an empowering speaker who infuses hope, positivity, and action into every presentation. With over 20 years of experience, Pierre Campbell develops executives, high potential leaders, managers, and students by instilling a heightened sense of confidence and honing their ability to work effectively in teams through self-awareness, self-exploration, and acceptance. Pierre is also an author of Simple Intelligence G.O, Get Optimistics, How Acronyms and Affirmations Can Truly Work to Your Advantage. Pierre teaches simple intelligence strategies that uniquely position leaders to become more effective and enable more earning potential through employee engagement and customer satisfaction. He is also a college football Hall of Fame recipient. He received that award while he was a student at Cheney, a successful career coach as an arena football player, and he's worked in higher education. Currently, Pierre has developed a unique niche as a leadership development resource and diversity and inclusion coach. Welcome, Pierre.
Let's go, sister. Let's go.
Man, I am excited to have you, especially with your topic. And, leadership, that's what we need right now, some leadership, right? In our country, in our world, in our communities. And, we know that coaching helps to bring out the best in us, right? I see you're a former athlete. I played football. I was an athlete all the way until junior high. And then my daddy said I became a glamour girl because I started cheerleading. But I must tell you, my first, when people used to ask me what I wanted to be in life, when I was in third grade, I remember the first thing I wanted to be is I wanted to be Wonder Woman. And I wanted to play professional football. I wanted to be a wide receiver.
Wow.
Billy White Shoes Johnson was my idol. And every time I make a touchdown, I do his little dance, his little... And so we grew up playing football. Texas is a football state. Brownwood is a football town. And so I grew up playing football, and when I got to almost junior high, sixth grade, my grandmother said, okay, it's time for y'all to stop playing tackle football with those boys. We were mad.
Wow.
We love football. So I'm glad to hear that you're all about teams and sports. And I'm sure you learned so many skills by being an athlete. And that pretty much probably honed into your experience as a leadership coach. So enough about me. Tell me about you and give our audience a little bit about your background. I know you said you're from Queens, so I'm excited to hear about who you are and what you do and your passions. Tell our audience about you.
All right, Empowerment Zone with my sister Ramona. You have Queens, New York. I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens. I don't know if y'all heard of LL Cool J. Of course you have. But he's from Queens, and he always talks about being from Queens. So I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, Far Rockaway, Queens to be exact. I am of Jamaican descent. So at times a little passionate come out and Jamaican accent come out. So get ready for that too. My mom was an integral part of helping me to understand leadership. And a couple of things happened when I was young. I was always the kid that had a couple of friends that were popular and then some weren't popular. And guess what? I was the kid that would protect them. I was always the protector. And when I say protecting, I'm serious. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about back in the day, late 80s, early 90s. It was this 3:00, that's just the way it wasn't as much, I'm saying violence, but it wasn't as much with the guns as it is now. And so I was a protector. I always fought for my friends. So one of my friends in high school, since freshman year, he used to try to tell me, man, you need to play football. And I was like, no, that's not for me. I'm Jamaican, man. We play soccer, and I said, well, now we're gonna do something else. We'll play some baseball or basketball. Mm-hmm. But I didn't hit the 6'1", 6'3" range. So the basketball didn't work out. Although I was good athletically, it didn't work out. So I think like sophomore year, he came to homeroom with this group, with this picture of the team. And it's so amazing what one little thing you can get attracted to. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about like energy and attraction. It comes from just seeing something, exposure to something. And I was exposed to this picture of a group and all the players on the team is all organized, everybody in a nice uniform, blue, the August Martin Falcons and Jamaica Queens. I mean, it was just like everybody together. I said, I want to be a part of that. He's like, man, I've been begging you for this whole last year, this year, and now you see a picture, you want to be a part of that. So went home, told my mom. My mom was like, thank God you found something else to fight for. Mm-hmm. Other than fighting for your friends or whatever the case is. So fast forward, I played 2 years of high school football, was blessed to have the opportunity to walk on. I wasn't recruited, so I walked on at Cheyney University. And Cheyney actually is the first historical Black university in the United States. A lot of people don't know that, so a little history there. Founded in 1837. Mm-hmm. And man, what an experience. Going to an HBCU, not having to deal with racism, rather than going to a predominantly white institution. So I learned a lot. I got a lot of mentorship. I got a lot of guidance from the fact of love with education, empowerment with education, insightfulness with education. And I think that's really those things are key to the growth in my leadership. I mean, and being at Cheyney, I'll just say this, I really did not know what I was entering. I just wanted to go and play football. So I walked on and I went 5 years, Ramona, 5 years in Empowerment Zone, 5 years and won one college football game.
And you sound like I ain't gonna talk about my school, but you sound like my school too. But we had a little bit more wins than one. But I'm also a product of a historically Black college and university, Clark Atlanta University, and we were always losing. But to your point, there's so many valuable things you get at a historically Black college and university.
There you go. So, that experience taught me a lot about myself. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's the key, is to understand who you are. And during failures, during times of stress, during times of being in a pandemic, it really shows you, do you have the desire? Do you have the passion? Do you have the energy? Do you have the ability to look inside and discover who you are so you can serve who you are to the team, mm-hmm. to the group, to the organization, so that going through that time was so integral for me. I learned a lot about myself as far as an optimistic person. Mm-hmm. And so that's the gifting. I think that's when the gifting started to come out even more so. So that's a little. I can see
that. Losing gives you and to lose and to continue to go back on the field. Okay.
Let me tell you, a lot of people fell off the team. Every year, one of the coaches used to say this to the team. He used to say, "Look around during football camp. Beginning of football camp, look around. And make sure you look at everybody's faces, because the people you start with, there's going to be some people that are not going to be here. Mm-hmm. And so that was really key for me to hear that. And it was true every year. You would look around and there were people that would quit, people that would say, okay, I'm done with this. I can't take it anymore. And I mean, hey, everybody has a choice and have other opportunities. But every individual has to make a decision on what they want to do as an individual leader. And then when you talk about leadership, that's where I learned that leadership wasn't specifically pointing the finger at the head coach because we lost all of our games. Leadership wasn't pointing the finger at the university presidents, because we had multiple presidents, multiple head coaches. Leadership wasn't about pointing the finger. Leadership was about starting with you. Like I always say in Simple Intelligence, the first principle of Simple Intelligence is leadership starts with you. Mm-hmm. And understanding that leadership is owning your responsibility, doing what you're supposed to do so that you achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve as an individual and for the team.
So looking inside of yourself and just, looking in retrospect, what kept you going out on the field despite the losses? What was it that you found inside of yourself? Like you said, leadership starts within. What was it that made you keep coming back and continue to play the game despite the losses? And it might be multiple reasons.
Yeah, and that's a great question, because one, the first thing I would say was the love of the game.
I was hoping you started there.
I really did. I mean, I had this love. Remember, I only played 2 years of high school football. So then moving into college, it was like, okay, I really didn't get it from a technical perspective. I had the athletic ability, but once I got to college, all of a sudden everything started to slow down, like literally, because everything was fast when you first start playing the game. But then over time, as you start to understand, the game is about angles. The game is about passion, desire, energy. The game is about understanding your plays, studying, watching film. We call it film, which is video of yourself and your opponent. Once I started to understand and become a student of the game, oh man, it was no need for nobody had to motivate me. I already knew. I already had the gifting to be able to go out and do things, and the discipline. I had that too. So it was like, okay, let's go. It was always a mindset of, okay, let's go. And so one of the things that I discovered about myself that kept me going was that optimism. I have this unrelentless optimistic attitude. And I'm not talking about Pollyanna, because Pollyanna is, it's going to be all right while the building is falling on us. You know what I mean? No, it's not going to be all right. Let's get out the building. Let's go. Optimism from the perspective of I believe in myself. And if you're on my team, I believe in you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny that Tom Brady is now in Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. People follow Tom Brady, and they're Tom Brady fans, and now they're Tampa Bay fans, mm-hmm. right? So what I always tell people is that confidence, every single one of you listening, Empowerment Zone audience, every single one of us as individuals should see ourselves as the Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. When you enter in an organization or a part of a team, you need to be that person. Mm-hmm. You are that person. Mm-hmm. But the only way that's going to happen is if you understand your value, understand your gifting, really become self-explorative and value who you are. Mm-hmm. And that's a whole nother, oh my God, value. Whew, I can get into that.
Yeah, because our conversations with ourselves sometimes are negative conversations instead of, like you said, building the confidence and believing in ourselves and understanding our value. And that's a great segue into you discussing your topic today, diversity and inclusion and self-advocacy. Can you expand on what you mean by that, how you define diversity and inclusion, and what self-advocacy has to do with that? And just teach the Empowerment Zone audience about how that, relates to leadership.
So there's a great quote, and the quote, the person that made the quote slips me right now at the moment, but she says that diversity is being invited to the party and inclusion is being asked to dance. So I just embrace that quote and I say, that's what it's all about. And my coaching, my training, my sessions on diversity and inclusion, which you can find on pierrecamp.com, and you click on diversity and inclusion. They're all about human relational skills. I always tell people I fell into this whole DEI space. I'm a leadership guy. I'm about leadership development. My passion, I feel the pain of leaders. So all of what I teach and what my associates teach in the organization, what we teach is about human relational skills. So we're fundamentally based in human relational skills and leadership development. All right, let's talk about it. The sessions are unconscious bias. What is unconscious bias? Everybody got bias. Come on now. It has nothing to do with race. I got bias. You got bias. Everybody got bias. Okay? Has nothing to do with race. That's human relational skills. Things that we should have learned when we were in school, but we were learning technical skills and subjects and things of that matter, which is all good. Microaggression. Everybody has microaggression. I mean, these are just things that are just naturally happening because we just don't know. People don't know what they don't know, and we just naturally we don't like certain things. There's a bias when you look at somebody and you're like, man, that person doesn't look like me. So if you feel more comfortable with people that look like you. Then you talk about allyship. Allyship is really key because that's where it builds up into the advocacy. How do you become an advocate for someone? And everyone needs an advocate. That's the whole, back in the day, we used to call it like mentorship and being a mentor for someone. So allyship is very important. And you also have equity. And one of my business partners, Darryl Coach D. Andrews, teaches on equity for my company as well. And then we also have corporate trauma. Corporate trauma is really, really that sneaky passageway that comes up and gets you when you have a bad boss, and then you go to another organization and you don't know what to do. Oh my God, why am I traumatized by, why can't I speak up? So that's that corporate trauma, and Jamal Seeley teaches that on corporate trauma. But all of this, essentially, Ramona, this is all human relational skills. Yep. At the end of the day, we're using the DE&I as a title, but if you took that away, I love simplicity. Like everything I teach is simple intelligence. So I love being simple. A fifth grader can be like, okay, I get it. It's human relational skills. You should be able to teach a fifth grader about bias. You should be able to teach, just imagine, you know what? That would be a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. Anyway, I'll stick a pin.
Yeah. That's a great idea, especially because many of the ideas that we're taught begin when we're children, right? That's right. So the biases that we have, the attitudes and beliefs that we have start when we are children. So you stick that pin and move forward with that.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. And then the whole self-advocacy piece right now, we're in a state of our country and the world where people need to know and how to become an advocate for themselves and how to attract an advocate. Why should someone be an advocate for you? And so I've created a Simple Intelligence self-advocacy framework. So there's 5 pieces to the framework, and I go through the 5 pieces, and then now I've broken it up into a training because I've done the training for multiple companies. And so that piece is important because as a employee or a leader in an organization, you want your people to be confident. You want them to show up and speak up. You want them to manage up, which is the whole idea of communicating effectively with your manager. You want them to be able to understand who to select as an advocate. And then you also want them to have gratitude. So those are the 5 pieces right there. So that self-advocacy is hot right now. People are contacting me. Companies are contacting me to speak on self-advocacy. Once again, another, hey, this is falling into my lap. And I think the reason why these things are falling into my lap is because I've become a magnet for diversity and inclusion. I've become a magnet for these things. It's because it's essentially who I am. And that to me is so important for people to know and to discover who you are so that you can attract what it is that you're looking for and make sure that people understand their value.
And that's very important when you talk about leadership, is that leaders are magnetic, right? Mm-hmm. So now let's just look at it from a personal perspective. When you talk about you've been attracting these opportunities, what do you think you did, or what do you think you are that allowed those opportunities to come to you?
One, I am a leader. Point blank. My motto on pierrecamp.com, anything that you see is Pierre Camp, you are a leader. I'm empowering others to see that they are leaders. Mm-hmm. Because my definition of leadership, just so it can be very clear, is when you operate in your area of gifting, mm-hmm. which therefore means that every single one of you, Ramona, everybody that's listening to the Empowerment Zone right now, you are a leader.
Yes.
Every single one of you are leaders, but you haven't been taught that. So what I do is I give people the authorization. I give people the go ahead. Like when I say, let's go, everybody always hears me say, let's go. And I tag it ever since I started using social media. That's another little thing that I do, consistency on social media. 2011 is when I started using social media, and every single post across all social platforms, you will see, let's go. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And some people may know and some people may not know, but the goal is in Simple Intelligence. There's a book right there. Mm-hmm. Stands for Get Optimistic. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So when you say, let's go, every time you say, let's go for your family members, when you say, let's go for your team, guess what? You're saying, let's get optimistic. Mm-hmm. If you're a manager and you have direct reports, you're saying, let's go. Mm-hmm. Let's get optimistic. That's what that means. So psychologically, I'm a nerd at heart. A lot of people. So psychologically, I like to call myself a mind surgeon. Not a brain surgeon, a mind surgeon, where I can get into the mind and get people to think. And but it's all the art of repetition and so the consistency there. So that's what it is. Getting people to understand their value and understanding. One, you have to know yourself, and like I said, I know who I am. I know myself, and so with that being said, I know my purpose, and it's important when you know your purpose. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. You're living. You're not just being, you're living. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. When you know your purpose, you're living. You're not just being. Mm-hmm. And we have an issue right now that a lot of people, because we see what's being shown to us in society, we want to be that mm-hmm, mm-hmm. rather than living what we're supposed to be living. So I am blessed because for some reason God decided to get my parents together, regardless of the situation, because it was a situation. regardless of the situation, and boom, and here it is, So this is a blessing to be able to use the gifting and understand the value. So when you ask that question, it's about, one, knowing that I'm a leader, and leaders are supposed to build other leaders. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. That's why you're doing this Empowerment Zone. This is essentially empowering other people mm-hmm. and helping them to realize their leadership inside of themselves. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, that is, I love your perspectives about purpose, and money has nothing to do with purpose, right? Mm-hmm. It's about living in your gift.
It's a byproduct. Money is a byproduct of purpose. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So what advice would you give to our audience in living on purpose, being a leader, embracing diversity, equity, and inclusion, self-advocacy? Leave us with some nuggets on your advice on what we need to do and be to live in our gift.
Yeah. So that is such a great question. One, I would say, is love yourself. One of the things that I do is I give my children a bath. Ask me, Ramona, why do I give my children a bath?
Why do you give your children a bath?
Because my wife said give them a bath. You know? hey. They say happy wife, happy life. But anyway, so one of the things I do is I give them a bath, right? So when I give my children a bath, Anthony's 8 years old right now, so I don't really do that much with him. But with Chloe, so just imagine right now, I give her a bath, I put her on the sink, and in her bathroom, she has double sink. She shares, it's a Jack and Jill with Anthony. So they got double sink there, and I put her up in front of the mirror. She's looking at the mirror. I'm looking at the mirror, and I hold her just like this. And I say, "You ready?" And she said, "Yeah." And I say, 1, 2, 3, let's go. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. Because God made me perfect. And she looked at me and said, "Oh, Daddy, let's yes." I said, "You ready? You want to do it again? Do it again?" I'm like, come on. And then we said, 1, 2, 3, let's go. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. Because God made me perfect. And what am I doing? I'm programming her subconscious mind. I'm programming, yes. You need to love yourself. Every single one of you listening, watching, whatever way you're intaking this, is you need to realize that you were perfectly made. You are the only human being with this fingerprint that you have, which means there is no one in the world that has your fingerprint today, no one in the past, and no one ever coming after you with your fingerprint, which means that you were born for a purpose. No matter what you think about your complexion or what somebody else thinks about your complexion, I love myself. You need to be kissing yourself and saying, "I love me some me," like Terrell Owens says, wide receiver. You know,
Dallas Cowboys.
That's right. You know, but you need to love yourself, because once you love yourself, you know the saying, hurt people hurt people. When people are loving themselves, they it's very hard to hurt other people. When you see the value in yourself, you start to see other people, and here comes the simple intelligence. You appreciate other people for their differences. Rather than being so upset about the fact that you're different from me. No, there's value in differences. One of the things that football taught me is I can't play quarterback. I can't play defensive line. I was a linebacker. I played fullback and linebacker in arena football when I played professional, but in college football, I played linebacker. The defensive lineman in front of me, I couldn't do what he does. He's 6'5", 290 pounds. Come on now. My job was to go and search and seek out the running back all day long and do this. You know, everybody has a role to play, but the challenge that we have in our society is that people don't love themselves. So I would, make sure people love yourself. Love yourself. That's the first step. And then understand that your difference brings value to the world. That's simple intelligence. Your difference brings value to the world. And simple intelligence, everybody, is common sense. Because, you know, everybody knows common sense is not common practice. So we've been taught by Dr. Daniel Goleman about emotional intelligence, but we need common sense. We need that. We need to be taught the second principle of simple intelligence. And there's the other nugget there. My response is my responsibility. Just imagine if we were taught that at 5 years old. Just imagine, you know? So there you have it. Your difference brings value to the world, which is about diversity and inclusion. And my response is my responsibility, which is I'm responsible for loving me. Whether you love me or not, that's not on me. I'm not responsible for that. I need to love me first and show my value. So that's what I would. There's so much more.
I love it. I love it. And I appreciate, and I know my audience appreciates this great advice, and we love your energy. And what you bring, your value that you bring to the empowerment zone. So I'm sure my audience would want to know how to contact you, get in touch with you, follow you on social media. So can you tell us how they can get in contact with you if they're interested?
Absolutely. You can go to pierrecamp.com. and you can sign up on pierrecamp.com. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. This is where my sister Ramona and I, we met as professionally Black, that team there. So those are just two places that you can connect with me. Of course, once you go one place, you can get everything there, which is pierrecamp.com.
pierrecamp.com. And you can also find them on LinkedIn, Pierre Campbell. And I'm just absolutely thrilled that he decided to join us today. All of us, no matter what you do, sometimes you just need a little motivation and a leadership coach. And so if you're looking for a leadership coach, or if your organization needs some leadership training, please reach out to Pierre Campbell and his team at pierrecamp.com. I'm sure he would be delighted to impact your audience and help you to bring out the best in them. Thank you so much, Pierre, for joining us today. I can't wait for you to come back. You can come back anytime. You just reach out and let me know. You know how to contact me. If you got some project you want to promote, or you just got a word you want to give my audience, feel free to join us on the Empowerment Zone. Thank you, Pierre Campbell, for joining us today.
Thank you, Empowerment Zone. Let's go.
Hi, today we have Mr. Pierre Campbell with us today. I am excited because he's a leadership coach. And you know, the leadership coach has the best kind of advice. And so he's here to give us advice on strategies for college success. So first, Pierre, can you tell our students where you attended college? What were your major or majors? And then give us that one piece of advice for college success, or you can give more than one if you like. Glad to have you, Pierre.
Thank you for having me, Empowerment Zone. This is awesome. I am Pierre Campbell, of course, as introduced, graduated from the first historical Black university in the United States of America. That's Cheney University. Get it right, get it right, get it right. Founded in 1837, everybody, outside of Philadelphia. And I graduated back in 1999, started college as a computer science major. I'm starting the nuggets already. Y'all receive it now. Started college as a computer science major. My football teammate said, you don't like this computer stuff. Yeah, because I was being frustrated to being programming and being by myself all the time trying to figure out this program. And so he said, man, you should take a marketing class. So I took a marketing class, was done after that. Became a marketing major, double majored, which is minor in computer science, ended up graduating with a minor in computer science and a major in marketing business administration degree. All right, move on to my master's degree. I worked at Strayer University. I was a campus director, opened a campus, managed a bunch of campuses, and turned some campuses around as far as performance is concerned from an operational perspective and energy, and getting employees to be engaged and students to be engaged. And I earned my MBA in human resources. The reason why I say earned and I slow down at that point is because it's very important for young people to understand that you earn a degree. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter what school you go to. What matters is what are you learning while you're there? And also, you're telling your employer, your potential employer, that you have the discipline to complete a degree. So the name, don't worry about the name, y'all. Shoot, Cheney University, Harvard University degree, to me, it's equal. Why? Because I bring you, here's the nuggets, y'all. You bring your gifting to the job. So if you want to be empowered and understand, everybody is from an employer perspective. I hired people. As a leader, we know that you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. So decrease the stress and understand that your responsibility is to understand, one, are you bringing positive energy? Are you optimistic? Okay. Two, are you coachable? Are you coachable? That's what people want to know. They can teach you whatever.
You gotta explain that concept, though. Everybody doesn't know what that means.
Okay. All right. I go a little bit. I'm trying to go fast.
But wait, before you go there, I had a friend who said he's a quarterback in college at Clark. And he would say, the coaches don't like me because I'm not coachable.
It's true. It's so true.
So explain what you mean by coachable.
All right. Go back to number one. What is number one? Do you display a positive and optimistic attitude? Dale Carnegie says attitude is the magic word. Earl Nightingale says attitude is the magic word. There's a reason why attitude is the magic word. Attitude is an internal thing. It's not an outside thing. So you determine what your attitude is, what you bring into an organization or what you bring to your college career. You determine that. So coachability is the ability to say, I'm interested in learning, the desire to learn, the ability to say, okay, I want to be great. I want to listen to someone that has my best interest at heart. And even if they don't know everything, because some educators don't know everything, you still listen. So coachability is having these two skills. I want to make sure you get these two skills. I'm glad you asked that question because now I can go in a little bit in depth. It's becoming skilled at asking questions. Start to research on how to ask questions. And then number two, becoming skilled at listening. Your listening skills are so important. People say, Pierre, you're such a great speaker and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but let me tell you one of the secrets to being a great speaker. Listening. Your listening, your ability to listen to your audience, your ability to listen to other people, because listening comes with body language. Listening comes with understanding tone and inflection and hearing passion or hearing discontent and all of these different things. So we got the two things. Number three, do you know your value? That's number three, the last one. Do you know your value? And all right, let me give you Pierre Campbell definition of value because I think it's very important to be clear when I define these things. Your value is an internal thing. Your value is, you see how I like numbers, y'all? Your value is your talents, your gifts, and your strengths. Now, the question I have for you, young people, your talents, your gifts, and your strengths, are any of these things outside of you? Nope. Your talents, your gifts, and your strengths are all internal. So when you talk about helping young people understand, Ramona, what is some secrets on college career success or workforce, entering the workforce, is understanding, having a positive attitude, being optimistic, which they can control. People know if you come in with a bad attitude, that disqualifies you right away. Okay, being coachable. Guess what? They're going to coach you train you on the organizational principles, values, and all those types of things. So don't worry about knowing everything. You don't need to know everything. And by the way, they know, like I said before, that you don't know it all because they were you. I was you. Ramona was you. All right. Number three, knowing your value, knowing your talents, your gifts, and your strengths. What value do you bring to the organization? Not just a lot of college students always talk about, especially specifically in their resumes or their interviews, they're always talking about what they want to get from the organization. So what I do is I shift their thought process when I coach college students, and I get them to speak about what value they can actually bring to the organization. And so that takes a little introspection, that takes time, but it's worth your time. Because once you discover that and you understand what that is, that builds your confidence. So you bring those three things to the table and, man, don't worry about it. You'll be all right.
Great advice, Pierre. Great advice. You have to, if you want to succeed in college, you have to have a positive attitude. You've got to be coachable, meaning you've got to be open to learning, and you've got to know your value. Know your talents, gifts, and strengths. Thank you so much, Pierre Campbell, for giving our audience those great strategies for success in college. Great to have you.
Thank you.
A special thank you to the incredible team of the Empowerment Zone. Terry Gully, theme song, NADWorks, digital support, and of course, our featured guest.
If you enjoyed my podcast, please subscribe. We are on all of your favorite podcast platforms.
Be sure to rate us on Apple Podcasts too. Thank you for your continued support.